Hi, my name is Doug McDevitt. I live in Norfolk and I'm an avid fly fisherman. And today we're going to spend some time showing you some spots and some basic casting techniques for catching trout in Norfolk and the surrounding area. Most of the places that all the places we'll be fishing here will be within a half an hour's drive of Norfolk. So if you come up to stay, there's many places that you can fish. And we're going to feature a couple of ponds where we can catch some warm water species such as sunfish and largemouth bass and whatever else might be willing to take our fly. So come on up, enjoy the area. It's beautiful and there are many places to fish. What we're doing now is tying our first fly, which is called the crawdaddy, and it is a crayfish imitation that we'll be using on the Housatonic River and the smallmouth bass. This was a fly that I designed. It's my design. It was a copy of a fly called the Swimming Nymph, made by Bob Clowser. I saw it in a magazine. I was looking for a good crayfish imitation because most of the ones that I would see in magazines and stuff like that just weren't that effective, or see in stores, because they were too rigid. They'd use feathers for claws or hair and stuff like that, and they wouldn't move. And I like things to be animated in the water. So I like the claws are going to be what they call marabou, which are animated. So this particular fly is very effective because it looks like a crayfish in the water. They've been tying flies since the days of the Macedonians, but at the turn of the century, a lot of the famous tyers would tie them just in their fingers. So yeah, you can. I mean, you could, any cheap vices, I mean, you can find some fairly cheap vices around. I've got quite a few that I use for the classes. It costs you $20 or so. One of the secrets to it is weight. So those flies can be very light and just the feathers, but this one, see, that's the nice thing about fly fishing or flies, is that you can alter your lures. Basically, it's a lure. We call it a fly, but it's essentially a lure. It's luring a fish into any configuration you want. That's what makes fly fishing so effective over conventional fishing. With conventional fishing, you're kind of just stuck with a heavy lure of some sort because it's got to have enough weight to pull the line off the reel. Whereas this, the fly is made of feathers and thread and fur or synthetic materials. So essentially, the lure doesn't have much weight at all, which enables you to make something very tiny or something very large. I mean, I fish saltwater too, so this is marabou. What I like about it is it's so supple. It just moves with you can see what the wind will do, the air. So the current of the water will do the same thing. So this is the claw. And we're going to add a little sparkle to it. A synthetic material called crystal flash in root beer. Put that on between layers of the marabou. Good to get this part out. A little bit more. I like these a lot. There we go. Short pieces of it. So now we just kind of put it all together. So we're going to wrap the chenille around for the body. Secure it. Fortunately, it's all biodegradable. Okay, and then we're going to use a tool here called the hackle pliers to wind the legs. And I like to use a inexpensive red rooster feather because they also, like the marabou, become very supple in the water and move with the current. And it pushes down the rooster feather, so now it sort of looks like legs. Secure that. And we'll save these for a future fly. I'm going to take a smaller version of the same chenille, and this will be the abdomen. Say that 5 times real fast. Abdomen, abdomen, abdomen. Underneath for the eye. When I teach the class, the fly tying class, this is always the part that gets the students the most. Once you master it, it's like riding a bike, you'll never forget it, but it takes a little bit of time to kind of get the hang of it. Right. That's pretty much it. We'll just put a little glue on it. Highly recommend. Always secure everything when you're done because you will knock it over. I know that because I've done it. And there you have it. Back down. Pull the legs out a little bit. And we will use this a little later. And what you have is the crawdaddy. The main difference between casting a regular fishing pole and a fly rod is simply the line. In conventional fishing, the weight of the lure is going to pull the line off of the reel as you cast it. In fly fishing, the fly, which as you can see, probably barely, very tiny, has no weight whatsoever. So the line has the weight built into it. So the line is pulling the fly, which is the reverse of regular fishing. So how do we throw a tiny little fly like that 40, 50, 60, even 100 feet? Well, simply put, the techniques that we use are to throw the line. And there's a lot of physics involved, but you certainly don't have to master the physics, just have a basic understanding of transitioning the power of the line from the rod to the line to the fly, and that's simply done by throwing the line. In order to cast the line or the fly, what we have to do is transition power from our arm to the rod and then to the line. And it's done quite simply by lifting the rod up to from basically a 2 o'clock position, or 10 o'clock position rather, to a 2 o'clock position on a clock. So we're going to start basically at 2 o'clock, pull back to give some power, like so, pause to allow the line to unfold behind us, and then go forward again. And the line will just go out. So we're transitioning the power from our hand to the rod, which then transitions to the line. So it's a very simple process. It looks a lot harder than it really is, but it's very simple. So we go from 10 o'clock back to 2, and then back to 10 again, and let the line go down. I'll just do it a couple times. As you can see the line unfurl, you know that you've got a nice cast. And there you have the basics of fly casting. There's a few other casts you can use, but over time you come up and visit us, we'd be happy to teach you. And that's pretty much it. Well, thank you for following us on our adventure this morning in Norfolk. We fished the Blackberry and Wood Creek. There are many other places to venture forth that are even better fishing. Housatonic River, the Farmington River, Winchester Lake, which is a trophy pike lake. Unfortunately, we didn't get anything today, although we did have a follow, but there are many rewards to fishing in Norfolk and the surrounding area besides just catching fish. It's a beautiful day here. We've got wildlife out here. I've got some geese, saw a heron, a couple turtles sitting on lily pads. So even though you may not leave with a fish, you're certainly going to leave with many memories. So enjoy, and we hope to see you soon.